Yo, what is going on, you guys, and welcome back to LewisFiction and the first official episode of Spectacular Spider-Man exclusively to this channel. If you aren't aware, the other 9 episodes have been re-uploads from Lewis Films, so this is the first official episode to this channel. If you are new around here, we upload fanfictions every Wednesday and Saturday, so make sure you're subscribed for all the latest Spider-Man fanfics. And make sure to leave suggestions in the comment section down below for future fanfictions as well. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Episode 10, Arrest Warrant. We start out our episode from where we left off. Everything is frantic. The police and Captain Stacy track down the main culprit to the Green Goblin crimes, Harry Osborn, and arrest him. Harry is spotted walking the streets of Midtown, and the NYPD get news of this and arrest him promptly. Following all the evidence gathered, the green in his locker, and the proposed speculation by Donald Mencken. This episode will follow an interview-like structure at the beginning, where the events of the season so far are recapped in interviews, where all the pieces are put together. Harry Osborn is interviewed first. He denies all the claims towards him being the Goblin. They say that they have evidence of him taking the green, and Harry sulks and looks down, saying that he got addicted back when his father died. But he isn't the Goblin. He said he was framed for being the Goblin once before, but he would never actually become him. He says the Green Goblin is insane, and that's not him. Obviously, when off the green, Harry stops having blackouts, which turn him fully into the Green Goblin. Next in are Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. As they are friends of Harry Osborn, they are also questioned if they know anything about the case. Both of them say that they don't know anything at all, not only to protect Harry, but Peter also can't reveal anything about him being Spider-Man, as anything he said or does could be incriminated and tracked back to him being the Wallcrawler. During the interview, Peter is opposite Captain Stacy, and when Peter says he knows nothing, Captain Stacy gives him a certain look, and asks him if he's sure. Peter is confused and stuck for what to say, but he confirms that he knows nothing, and asks to leave. Captain Stacy grants his wish, but gives a suspicious look to Peter on his way out. We will cut to Midtown High, where Flash Thompson and the rest of his friendship group find out about the news of the arrest of Harry. Although Harry had ruined Flash's chances of winning the football championship for Midtown, he feels some kind of remorse for Harry, as he knows he's had a tough time recently over the last year since his father's death. It is also revealed in this scene that the Midtown football team has actually made it to the quarterfinals of this year's championship, and with no Harry Osborn, Flash is determined to win this trophy fair and square, an arc that was set up for him way back in Season 2. We cut to a scene with Peter in a criminology class, ironically talking about arrest warrants and how they are made, reflecting the meaning of the episode in classic Spectacular Spider-Man fashion. Peter exits the class and looks down into his bag to see his torn and worn Spider-Man costume. He thinks to himself that he probably should get that fixed before it's just him fighting the crime instead of Spider-Man. He said he's had no time to fix it with everything that has been going on. Peter's next course of action is to find a way to finally capture Fisk. Although Harry is in prison, at least the Goblin is dealt with, and that's one less worry on his mind. Plus, Fisk's right-hand man, the Prowler, is also dealt with, which means Fisk remains. The war is almost over. Peter can feel it. We cut onto later in the episode, and the police are ready for their raid on Oscorp. It needs to be swift. Since the last episode, the police have been preparing for their biggest and final stand against Wilson Fisk and his empire. This ends now before it gets more out of control. Captain Stacy and the NYPD arrive on the scene at Oscorp, but to their surprise, the top floor of Oscorp Tower has smoke protruding from it quite violently. Captain Stacy radios in saying that they need the fire service and other officers on standby if things get messy. We cut to Peter, who has just returned from school, stressed out about Harry and the whole situation. Aunt May confronts him and asks him if he's okay. We get a nice slow scene at this point in the episode between these two characters here. I think this season in the last few episodes hasn't had enough of just May and Peter together with all the action and reveals going on. However, the news comes on and it's breaking. Oscorp Tower under attack once again. The police are already outside. Peter stands up and says that the Bugle will need photos, cutting short this moment between May and Peter, once again reflecting how chaotic Spider-Man's life is, and how Peter never gets to spend any time with his loved ones. Aunt May tells him to be careful, and Peter nods and leaves. Spider-Man swings onto the scene in his torn-up costume from the last episode, as a massive grin appears on Captain Stacy's face as they make their way into the building. Spider-Man shouts out to Fisk, but there's no sign of him. Peter searches around, under rubble, and in varying rooms. The idea of arresting him now is a distant thought, as it turns into a concern of life or death. Where is Wilson Fisk? Where is he gone? Peter continues to search for Fisk or any sign of life, but the building has been evacuated and is desolate. But then, spider sense! Peter turns around and it's a pumpkin bomb! It blows up in Spider-Man's face, sending him back and into the debris. As the police and Captain Stacy make their way up the stairs, the building rumbles beneath them, knocking some of them over. Captain Stacy thinks this can't be good. They carry on their way up, and Stacy sends some officers into a different room to scout out the areas in search of Fisk. We cut back to Peter as his mask is torn on one side, but still covering the majority of his face. His costume teared, torn, ripped, and has splatters of blood on it from the amount of wounds that Peter has endured. Then Captain Stacy arrives on the floor and sees Peter lying down, barely moving. He rushes to his aid and calls his name. Peter wakes up to Captain Stacy leaning over him, calling him by his real name. Peter leaps up frantically and touches his face, his mask still covering the majority of it, not enough to tell that it's Peter Parker underneath. Stacy asks if he's alright. Peter says that he's fine, confusingly. Stacy says he's always known, as he notices the confusion in the one lone eye that pierces through his worn costume, and smirks slightly out the corner of his mouth. He says that they need to go. This place could be riddled with traps. Captain Stacy helps carry Peter out of the building. Peter, struggling to speak, tells Captain Stacy that the bomb wasn't any kind of bomb. It was from none other than the Goblin. He's back, but how? Nobody knows. And Fisk is missing. That is it for episode 10 of the Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3. Sorry if this episode was shorter than the rest, but episodes 11, 12, and 13 are the final episodes of the season, and they will be the final acts of the series. So get ready for the final 3 episodes of Season 3, coming out every Saturday, only on LewisFiction. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Take care, and peace.